Judith, the Scourge Diva, versus Kozilek, the Great Distortion. Been asked to make an Eldrazi deck, and I didn't know if Kozilek, the Great Distortion, would make a good commander for that. It's usually Azusa people go for. Anyway, what are we on for here? Not a great deal. We could Demonic Tutor in for something, though. Yeah, we'll risk a 1-land hand because we have Mana Crypt. So we go in for the Smouldering Marsh on turn 1, and we'll get down Mana Crypt and a Spawning Pit. Have to assume that Kozilek is going to be running a lot of Mana Rocks because it's the only means of accelerating in a colourless deck. Kozilek, the Great Distortion, is 10 mana, 8 and 2 colourless for a 12/12. And yeah, they've got their own Mana Vault. Oh, and a Metal Worker as well. That's a really good card. When you cast this spell, if you have fewer than 7 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. It has Menace, and you can discard a card with CMC X to counter a spell with converted mana cost X. See if we get bolted here. Yep, we certainly do. And there's a Vandal Blast. That could potentially be very good for us. I'm thinking I want to go in for Skull Clamp here, so let's go for Demonic Tutor. And this is only because we have Bloodghast. I'm hoping it's going to be very useful to us. And now we just have to hope to draw into a land. Yeah, the Metal Worker we're using Duretti Scrap Savant, and it's very good. Tap, reveal any number of artifacts in your hand, and you get 2 colourless for each card revealed this way. Our opponent only has 4 cards in hand, one of which you would assume is a land. They do have Traxos and Oracle's Vault, but they just decide to get down Mishra's Factory here and then pass it over. Yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't go for Traxos there. We'll go for the Kite Sail Freebooter. Still not getting into lands, unfortunately. And then we can get rid of the Oracle's Vault. And then with the extra mana we can Skull Clamp. If our opponent decides they want to do something about the Kite Sail Freebooter, we can sacrifice it to the Spawning Pit. Judith, the Scourge Diva, is a 3-mana Rakdos commander. It's a 2/2, gives our other creatures +1 to their power. When a non-creature we control dies, she pings something for 1. Okay, and getting loads and loads of mana from the Metal Worker. So it looks like we're seeing Kozilek already. And they're going to draw 5 cards here. No, that's 4 cards they're going to draw. And just like that, they've refilled their hand. I don't think we really care about the Oracle. We'll just sack the Kite Sail Freebooter here in order to draw some cards. Okay, Phyrexian Tower isn't a particularly great land to draw into. Okay, but we do get into the swamp. Really can't see us winning this one, but we'll go for Bloodghast and equip up with the Skull Clamp. And yeah, we'll have to leave it at that because there's nothing else we can do. Just have to hope that we get into some spot removal for the Kozilek. And I'd love to Vandal Blast that Metal Worker as well because it's doing a lot for our opponent. Our opponent getting down a Dreamstone Hedron, just more mana. That taps for 3 colourless. Sculpting Steel as a copy of the Dreamstone Hedron, so that's 6 mana already. We can go for Vandal Blast next turn, but then our opponent is free to swing in with Kozilek, so yeah, we just haven't been fast enough here. We'd like to go for Vandal Blast and killing Kozilek, but that's not going to happen. We'll be taken down to both 0 life and 24 commander damage next turn. So let's go for the Bloodghast and Skull Clamp little combination. See if we can get anything going here. I highly doubt it. Yep, Duress won't do anything for us. Get another land drop trigger with the fetch. Okay, Vampiric Tutor isn't going to do anything for us, unfortunately. Yeah, just been too slow. So we will pass it over to our opponent and give them every chance to swing in at us. Doesn't matter what we discard, we're just going to... There we go. Get down to hand size. Yeah, see if our opponent plays around. They should just swing in, but we shall see. I'm actually going to tap down as well, just to show them that we're not holding anything back. Okay, and they're continuing to play stuff. I've just tapped out. They can just swing in to kill us, so we're not going to let them play around while we're just sitting here watching them. Good game to our opponent. That was Kozilek, the Great Distortion, versus Judith, the Scourge Diva. We'll try and get a real game going. Judith, the Scourge Diva, versus Tuvasa, the Sunlit. And yeah, it's not a superb opening hand, but we have land, so that's nothing to sniff at. We can get down a Goblin Rabble Master pretty quickly. Make sure to get our cycling land down first. And a Chain Lightning on Tuvasa. I doubt our opponent's going to run out Tuvasa as soon as they can, but it's there if we need it, if they do decide to do that. So let's go for the Blood Crypt intact as well. And then I think it's Goblin Rabble Master next turn, but we'll see what our opponent does. Tuvasa the Sunlit is a bank commander, 1/1, and it gets a +1/+1 buff for each enchantment you control. And whenever you cast your first enchantment, each turn you draw a card. Okay, Bloodghast. Not too worried about Bloodghast yet. Yeah, we'll get down the Goblin Rabble Master. This thing spits out a goblin each turn. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get it. We can go for Judith next turn and reanimate the Goblin Rabble Master if we want to. Okay, they're going for mana drain. That's 3 extra mana for them next turn. They might be as high up as 6 mana next turn if they get a land drop. Yeah, the Rabble Master spits out a hasty goblin that has to attack every turn. And it says whenever it attacks, it gets a +1 buff to its attack for each other attacking goblin. And there's the Runetail Kitsune Ascendant's Essence little interaction that you get to play in Commander. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to creatures you control. It enters as a Foxmonk creature token, and when you have 30 or more life you transform it, so if you get it out in the early game, then you prevent all damage that will be dealt to creatures you control. And that's hard for us to remove because we're in the colours that we're in. Just going to get down our Mana Crypt here, and then that is Judith the Scourge Diva. We'll see if our opponent has counter magic for that. And then reanimate on the Goblin. And now it's a 2/1 Goblin that comes out and attacks each turn, so hopefully we can keep these creatures out and pile on damage to our opponent. And getting down a Mesa Enchantress, I think that is worth a Chain Lightning. Okay, so yeah, we can do everything in our hand pretty much. We'll go for Spawning Pit and a Mountain. Okay, the Mesa Enchantress, it's prevent all damage that will be dealt to creatures you control. Yeah, so we can't actually do anything about the Mesa Enchantress unless we get into some kind of destruction spell. So they're just blocking the Goblin Rabble Master here, I imagine. And Chain Lightning, we can save that for a Planeswalker our opponent might get down. But we're just really on the rush plan here. Had we have bolted our opponent in the early game, we could have kept this thing from coming out, but we obviously didn't know that they'd be playing that. We can get enough damage through to them, we might be able to make use of Spawning Pit and ping our opponent for some damage. Yeah, I was just thinking that might be Supreme Verdict mana, but they didn't tap that down right. I think Supreme Verdict it's either 2 blue or 2 white. No, they're just going for Control Magic. enchanting the Goblin Rabble Master. And they get to draw a card with the... We might as well just sacrifice this then. We certainly don't want them to have that. And we'll ping them for 1 from Judith. Because Judith sees that the Rabble Master has died. We need 1 more counter on the spawning pit in order to throw out a spawn with that. But enchantments is a pretty bad matchup for us because we're in Rakdos and there's not a whole lot we can do about them. Just have to try and pile in the damage onto our opponent as fast as we can. How many artifacts is an Enchantress deck gonna run? I think I just do want to Vandal Blast that thing so that they've got way less mana next turn. And then in we go again. They're going to take 6 here. I'm going to save the Chain Lightning because I know that as soon as I use it, our opponent's going to get down a Planeswalker that I'd rather have used it on. Oh, and Smothering Tithe. I mean, they've got quite a lot of mana anyway. We're not exactly in the business of drawing a lot of cards in this deck, but they'll get at least 1 token every cycle during our draw step. Okay, Fiery Confluence isn't particularly great, is it? We could deal some damage to our opponent with it. Let's have a look at this. 2 damage to each opponent, so that's 6 damage. And that's 9 damage. Actually, that might have been a really good draw now that I think about it. Let's just go in at our opponent. I think we might be able to win this turn, actually. But our opponent's stopping on the main phase, so they might be waiting... No. I thought they might be using some removal there on our creatures. Or one of our creatures. Just going for the block on Bloodghast again. Okay, and then we go in for Fiery Confluence. We deal 2 damage to each opponent 3 times, which is obviously 6 damage, and then Chain Lightning. We were in a precarious position there, but it looks like we've got it. Yeah, I thought the Runetail Kitsune Ascendant's Essence had beaten us there, and had the game gone on for a little bit longer, I dare say it might have done. Where are we on the draws? Nope. Nope, Magic Online is going to bug out like it loves to and not give us our next draw. But yeah, like I say, had that game have gone on any longer, I imagine our opponent might have started to get away from us, but luckily managed to go wide and burn our opponent out for 9 damage there. So, hope you all enjoyed that. That was Judith the Scourge Diva versus Tuvasa the Sunlit. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.